Hey CJ, I am so appreciative of the support that the CJ gave me in sending me to the NJDC conference in October, and I was really excited about doing this presentation to our group, but I was scheduled to be off on November 21st, so I could drive up to Milwaukee and see my very first grandbaby. Tristan Jack Throckmorton was born a couple weeks ago. So I went ahead and did a YouTube recording and thought that you could watch it while I was on the road, and then I would be able to answer any questions that you had about the conference on the phone. So here we go with the presentation. The National Juvenile Defender Conference was held in Albuquerque, New Mexico on October 20th to 22nd. The conference highlighted racial issues in the defender system, so I thought it was important to attend and share the plenary sessions and the breakout sessions with both CJ members and our DPA staff. The main reason I thought this specific conference would be beneficial to our group was because I was told that there would be a strong focus on race-related issues. There were not only breakout sessions which focused on race, but also several of the plenary sessions also used race as a central theme. Friday morning had a session that touched on an issue that impacts youth of color disproportionately, the issue of homelessness. This session stressed the idea that homelessness comes in many forms and that racial minorities are overrepresented in the area of homelessness and what the speakers talked about as housing insecurity, and how this kind of housing instability impacts at-risk youth and increases their vulnerability even more. Another Friday morning breakout session looked at reducing racial disparities in what the presenters called school pushout. This session considered several different student expulsion prevention projects. One theme that came out of the session was that people connecting with the child need to know not only their culture but also the code of the street to be able to work effectively with any child. Diane Rondini Harris also talked, and she spoke about the STEP program, which organized advocates to attend expulsion hearings and organizes pro bono lawyers and combined funding through a state bar initiative grant and the city of Milwaukee to create the program. They tracked the expulsion reduction rate, and it went from 24 expulsions all the way down to 2 expulsions per year after the program was implemented. Another Friday afternoon breakout session was called I Must Attest, Don't Arrest, and it talked about civil citation alternatives. The main benefit of this program is that police officers have the ability to write civil citations, and that means that there's no arrest, there's no record, the child never even meets with any kind of justice official between the contact point with the police and the appearance in civil court. One question that popped into my mind after hearing about the program was that if citations are completely discretionary for the police, and if bias is part of the decision process, this could easily defeat the purpose of reducing DMC. The presenter stated that it does impact DMC in a positive way and pointed to a PowerPoint slide which shows the utilization of the civil citation program by race. I felt, after looking at these statistics, that the relative rate index had to be considered instead, not just the numbers that show the proportion of youth that are served by race. I also thought that the civil citation program to some extent replicated our own CDW diversion program in many ways. On Saturday, we had an afternoon session called The Reasonable Black Child, Strategies for Defending Black Youth from Pre-Arrest Through Post-Disposition. This session opened with a great ABC TV program clip from the What Would You Do series, which showed bystanders responding to a black male youth, a white male youth, and a white female. All of these individuals were cutting the chain of a locked bicycle, and what the video captured was the difference in responses by the bystanders that were walking through the park where the youth was trying to break the chain on the bicycle. This session's main focus was on the legal theories behind litigating race in what's supposed to be a race-neutral context. The session highlighted the need for implicit bias training in the community, and Dr. Henning advocated using the social sciences and what we know about implicit bias to persuade the court that stops are not okay and that the standard should be a reasonable black child and not the basic general reasonable person standard. The Saturday plenary session was focused on race-based policing. Each of the different panelists that spoke to this issue had recently authored pieces that give voice to the experiences of young people of color and how the justice system reinforces racial disparities. Each panelist gave their perspective and discussions regarding the flaws in the system. The final Sunday morning plenary session was an ethics session, and it was also geared towards racial issues, examining the rules of professional conduct and ethical considerations and how to use these standards to challenge racial disparity in the justice system. We were given the model rules and case problems that included racial bias types of scenarios and discussed how the rules can give attorneys leverage to challenge biased decision-making. Overall, it was a great conference with several sessions that allowed me to connect with people who've created innovative programs or cutting-edge theories on how to reduce racial disparity in the juvenile justice system. I think it was a great investment of our resources to attend, and we'll move forward to try to implement some of these ideas in Kentucky.